right, we're good to go.
All right, so if you've been watching the previous episodes of this podcast, then you already know. I'm gonna let y'all know the name of the podcast a little bit later, or it's gonna be in the title. But regardless, we have a thing going with momentum, right? We touched down in Miami, and we are networking with everybody who's a big deal in Miami, right? So we gonna keep the momentum going. I'm gonna start out by introducing myself. I go by Ty, aka the Delete King. You can follow me on Instagram at DeleteKing850, and we have our special guest today. We have Sierra.
Hey.
What is up?
You know what I mean? And we also have Tosin, who showed up to our last podcast that we had.
Less than 24 hours ago, probably. 'Cause
Exactly.
Talking about momentum.
Yeah,
Exactly.
less than 24
That's what I
Yeah.
mean by momentum. This is back to back to back to back. So, shot podcast number 1, less than 50 hours ago. Podcast number 2, we pulled up on Tosin. Podcast number 3 this morning at 8 a.m. And then now we back here. And we're actually at the location, Miami Luxury Vehicles. I say that right?
Miami Exotic Cars.
Miami Exotic Cars.
Yeah. So yeah, we're in our showroom right now with a couple of our vehicles that we have that are available. Everything else is out, but this is what's hasn't rented yet.
So, and then we have Mr. Credit Gem.
How y'all doing? Mr. Credit Gems. I just rebranded, so I'm coming at the game literally head on. Like he knows, we share some game back and forth. We've been studying probably around. It's very similar. We got very similar stories. The last year and a half, just doubled down on credit, funding, structuring people's reports, and then now we're getting into repair. So that's me. I'm from LA too. So
Oh, for
yeah, I'm from
sure.
Cali.
What
Yeah,
is
so I
that?
flew out here. We just met this week, and we literally talk about momentum. It felt like we just hit the same ground running. So it's cool. And then so we made a deal about this. Like not even officially, but we were just like, all right, let's do this. We both want to put out content and talk to people that got stuff to say and let the world see it.
Where
So-
you from in LA?
Woodland Hills area. That's where I
love
stay.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm from Claremont.
Claremont? Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah, he just put me on to your page, and he said, like, he took the trademarking class, and he could talk a little bit about that. But for sure, yeah, we're going to connect when I'm back in Cali.
That's.
for sure.
I mean, I moved here now.
Oh, yeah?
I
I'm
officially
literally about to move here in the end of January or February.
Yeah,
We was
LA,
talking about-
it's shut down, and the
Oh,
LA we
yeah.
grew up with, it's not that, so it's a little
We can
depressing.
talk about that, yeah. I mean, Miami's crazy, but
it ain't the same. Times ain't the same no more.
Yeah, so what we wanted to discuss today, we wanted to get to know Sierra. She's a pretty big deal.
Thank you.
She's always on live almost every day, and I'm always tuning into her live. So one of her lives, like, she was promoting a trademarking opportunity to learn how to trademark, right? And it was like a countdown. In the next 30 minutes, you can get in the Zoom call, So I was like, yo, what are the odds? I need to trademark something. You know what I'm saying? And I was almost hesitant, but she got me. You know what I'm saying? I was hesitant. It was so, you know what I mean? It was kind of last minute, but, and I was already watching I already had some other, course scheduled for that night to actually watch. And so I was literally, you can probably check somewhere deep in my highlights. I'm watching two courses at the
Studying.
same time because one was about more business funding and education, trying to find out what I don't already know. And then her course, I had my main attention was, was the, it wasn't even like a course, it was like a workshop, and we're going to discuss more about what she does specifically. But, that's kind of like how I've been following her for a long time. And she's a authority in this entrepreneur space. And I sort of wanted to understand what she does a little bit more. And I'll let her speak, but I'll just start off to let y'all know how I'm familiar with her, obviously, right? And she reminds me a lot of, my sister, who is also a lawyer. My sister worked for one of the top bank, one of my favorite banks, Chase, right? And she worked in the corporate world, and she also has, good faith in God and all of that.
Amen.
So, I see Sierra like a version of her, but it's different. It's different. She's a corporate lawyer. You can show her Instagram for a quick second. So you can read her bio. Like everybody's supposed to have what they do in their bio. She's a corporate lawyer, and you know what I mean. Obviously.
And coming from, I mean, I just started following you, so like I would ask the cliche question like, "What do you do?" Because I heard about the, you go on live, you interact with, you got a hell of a fan base, and you call them fans, but they're really, I know
family.
they're exactly. I was like, there are people behind them usernames, so I'll be the one to ask the question like, "What do you do?" Because I just want you to run it down.
Definitely. And that's a pretty complex question.
I know.
But we gonna break it down.
Okay.
So it really started, and when we talk like when it comes to my social media, I started a year and a half ago. I started teaching people. It started off with me just teaching them how to form LLCs. And I'm a lover of people, and I've always been for my people. Like I literally went to law school because, I was a little kid. Like, why they locking us up? I'm about to free us. I was a crazy little kid. I used to be like, I'm going to save the world, right? So, I kept that same passion for my people. And at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's all coming full circle for me, but I remember I kept seeing Runway. He would have posts about LLCs. And, I was super happy, that people were getting into forming LLCs and stuff like that. But I had a fear in the back of my mind because I'm coming from working at civil defense firms. And I'm like, if these people don't set up things properly, they might get to the bag, but if they don't learn how to protect it, they're going to be mad that they even made a dime in the first place. So I started off with LLC 101, and this was just breaking down really what is an LLC. And then I taught them how to form it. And then, as time progressed, people just kept asking me more questions. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do like a boot camp. So I had a 4-day boot camp, and in that boot camp, I was breaking down like the difference between each business entity. So sole proprietorships, partnerships, LLCs, corporations. And then I was giving them the tax perspective because a lot of people don't know,
We hate to think about it. That's
we do
for
not know.
We
do
the filing
not.
is fun, and then we're like, oh yeah, which bank accounts? How do I, let the money flow? Definitely.
We don't know nothing about taxes. So
Yeah.
I taught taxes, and well, not me. I had a CPA come teach taxes. I broke down employing people, and then also contracts. And then just every day, what people seek from me, it kind of alters what I do.
Yeah, you
and
feel
then,
it out, see what people really want to learn about, like most recently.
Yeah,
That's
just
cool.
supply their needs, and then within
That's how
the
you grew from literally like a year and a half ago, like you're saying? Just Zooms, and how do you set it up? It's all digital, or do you have meetups?
I'm gonna get into meetups,
Okay.
and now recently I just started. I joined forces with Morgan & Morgan, so they are America's largest personal injury law firm, and I just felt like if I'm gonna partner with any law firm, it has to be the most prestigious one. So I'm now like a partner of Morgan & Morgan.
Congrats.
And I bring them cases, and it's super dope. It's super dope. We could get into that because I have a really dope story when it comes to Morgan & Morgan. But I really aim to, really be everyone's go-to lawyer. It's a big, a big position that I'm trying to fill. But if somebody thinks lawyer, I want them to think Sierra ESQ.
Yeah, I certainly do nowadays. It's just
Amen.
so I'm trying to like wrap my head around the idea because like there's different kinds of lawyers and they all have their niche. Like there's real estate lawyers that get the deals closed, and there's personal injury lawyers, and then there's lawyers for making sure your business is set up correctly. There's consumer law attorneys. Maybe you can even define the difference, the difference in definition of like an attorney and a lawyer or whatever. But we could take it back a little bit more. Like, so you said you've always wanted to be a lawyer to help your people from a young age. That was your dream. Like you're living your dream right now.
Oh my God, I'm literally living my dream, like, because now that I'm more so, I've taken a step back from like practicing so much, and now, I'm bringing the cases in. So I have complete autonomy in my life. I have absolute freedom, and the checks is nice. So it's like, I always said when I was a little kid, I said 3 things. I was like, I'm gonna be a lawyer, I'm gonna be famous, and I'm gonna be a model. And, you know, I thought it, you know, I was actually talking about it on live this morning, but I was like, at the end of the day, you know, if a little kid is saying something like that, then that vision only could come from God, because how can a little child conceive such big a dream? So yeah, like I would like to say, more than me living out my dream, I'm living out the vision that God had for my life and the calling that God had over me.
I like that. I like that a lot. And then, like, for the other questions, like, how did you know about the niche, the real niche you wanted to focus on? Like, do you put yourself in a box? 'Cause I know it says corporate lawyer, but is that like, how do you explain that a little bit?
Definitely. So how I found it, it kind of just happened, you know? So when I was in law school, I worked at a personal injury law firm, and we represented the plaintiff. So the plaintiff is the person who's suing. And when we were at that law firm, we were suing huge corporations for anything, whether it be like personal injury, like a car accident, whether it be a slip and fall, whether it be an employment case. And I really learned a lot there. And then once I became an attorney, I went to the other side defending the businesses. And at the first law firm, we were defending like cities and, you know, like the government, and then like huge corporations. And then I got offered like a $40,000 salary increase. So I had to leave that law firm. And then I went to another one where we just solely focused on insurance defense. So what that is basically when a business is sued, you know, we have our commercial liability policy. So the other end of that is when you're actually sued, you submit a claim to your insurance, and then they hire a law firm to defend you. So at that law firm, I worked on trucking cases, landlord-tenant. I worked on all kind of stuff like construction defect. And the reason that I really categorize myself as a corporate attorney is because, you know, I see that people are starting businesses. So when it comes to your business needs, I want people to come to me. But because I'm now partnered with the Morgan & Morgan, you know, I'm trying to figure out how do I communicate that to my audience so that, you know, they get in a car accident, they're like, oh shit, I'm sorry, can we cuss?
Yeah, this is our podcast. You can do whatever you want.
Amen. So they're like, you know, I just got in a car accident, let me call Sierra and I can handle that for them.
Okay. I like that. So you always kind of knew what you wanted to do, and then like through like the different industries or the different companies you were working for, you sort of found your niche in that.
Yeah, and then also both of my parents are entrepreneurs. So when I saw people like starting all these businesses, I'm like, people don't know about business, because like my dad, he started his business when I was I can't remember if I was in elementary school or middle school. And like, we literally had a warehouse like this. And in LA, it would be summertime. I spent all my summers like packing things, packing our inventory, selling stuff. I did marketing when I was a little kid. My mom would literally have me, you know, going to medical facilities, marketing with her. My dad, he sells products to like Coca-Cola and Monster, and he would have me at these meetings with him. And I feel like, you know, social media has a great way of convincing people that things is going to happen overnight. But I've literally seen our entrepreneurship life unfold, and nothing was overnight. Like, it went from like, you know, when I was in middle school, we were like normal, and when we were in high school, I was like, oh, we rich now. Like, but you know, it took a long time. And then when I went to college and came back, I literally was like, what y'all been doing? And literally I talked to my mom today. I was like, did you strike gold recently? Because the moves she making now, I'm like, dang, but that started in middle school, and the moves they're making now, you know, it's now what, I'm 30, and that was literally what, 20 years ago they started. So I just really wanted to be that level-headed person that's giving people perspective that, you know, that's real.
You're right. Yeah. Like, that's all a byproduct of the 20 years.
And like, so I know you probably do a lot of consultations with people that are just, do you work with the people that are starting from scratch, or is your clientele a little more higher end? Like, maybe they started their business, but they didn't really set it up right. So you like go back and like correct what's wrong. Like, what are the common things you go over in your consultations that you think every entrepreneur should pretty much know starting out with their business?
Definitely. So right now, so I have, my products, their price is low. So naturally that's attracting people that are starting businesses. I would love, for people who already have business to come to me, but they haven't quite found their way to me yet. But really what I want most businesses to start off with is just an understanding of what business entity they're forming. So, we have people like, I literally saw a post on Twitter the other day, like, oh, if you form an LLC, you're still going to be taxed, like as an individual. So just form a C Corp. And I'm like, see, this is why you need a professional, because you can have an LLC taxed as a corporation, and the management of an LLC is way more flexible than corporations. So number one is having an understanding of what entity you're forming. Number two, understanding what safeguards you need to have in place to protect yourself from liabilities. So, like insurance, what contracts do I need? Because I just feel like I really have a love-hate relationship with social media, because everybody just talks about get the bag, get the bag, get the bag, get the bag. I'm like, okay, you can get it, but if you don't have insurance, if your contracts aren't tight, you could literally fumble your entire bag. You could fumble your personal house, your personal assets. So really have an understanding of that entity, insurance, contracts, trademarks, like the intellectual property, really the foundation.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. Like, you see me, like even starting on my business. So
all the tedious, stuff that you go, because you focused on the end result, because you see people like with the cars, with the houses, with the cash, with the lifestyle, and then no one's gonna tell you, oh, but you want to make sure your tax election is right and you're paying yourself properly and this and that. And I think that's cool that you've gotten to where you're at, pushing that type of info, because obviously there's a need for it, right? But like not everybody's gonna come out there and be able to. For one, it's more than a liability thing. It's your reputation thing. Like you're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna tell you how to do it the right way. Go about it. To me, I think that's like you said, the burden that you put on yourself is like admirable.
Thank you
know
so
what I'm saying?
much.
Because it's everyone wants the fast, flashy, cool stuff, which is awesome. Which is it's motivational to a lot of people, and it is also a great lifestyle to live, right? To, like we talked about elevating on the last podcast, like that should be your normal, that should be your goal. But you gotta get your ducks in a row on the whole way there from the start for sure.
Right. Like me, I've made a lot of money, and I don't have an exotic whip. Now I'm getting to a point where I'm like, okay, I could do this, but first I'm gonna buy a house. It's not about what social media looks like. And it's crazy to me too, because it's like, I grew up with that saying, like, don't keep up with the Jones, right? I have a Rolex on, Chanel, but y'all think I bought this? No, my father bought it for me. So imagine trying to compete with me and a man who's been in business for that many years, paid for it.
But somebody seeing it real quick is thinking, damn. And then they change their whole game plan for that. Right?
I see it every day. I literally see it every day, and I'm like, man, you can't keep up with the Jones because you don't know. And then it's like, also, and I say this humbly, but it's like, the social media thing is like, you don't know everything that's behind somebody's walls, right? Because it's like for me personally, I have privilege, when we talk about things like trust, I have the benefit of knowing, like, there's an inheritance there. There's two businesses, there's properties. So the way I move is going to be a little bit different for a person that might have to take care of their entire family. So, I really don't want people to get caught up in this social media game. And that's why every day I try my hardest to keep it real with the people. I try to remove like lifestyle from my, content, because I don't want to motivate people based off of stuff, because I don't want people getting into like terrible predicaments because they were chasing an unrealistic, vision. And
pointing that out, it's really just you versus yourself and your potential, because why would you play a game based off rules that are not relating to your game? That's your, you know what I'm saying? Your rules are different. where you started out is totally different. Like you said, the connections, the upbringing, whether it was good or bad, right? Like you got teachers that completely changed your life, right? Yeah. And she has parents that gave her real world experience off rip. And you can both get to a high position from the same area, but in different ways. Right?
Don't let him fool you. He came from the same thing.
I mean, no. He was using some examples that anybody can pull from, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, same. I have some teachers that don't know how much they impacted me, right?
Yeah.
It could be public school, it could be random people, uncle, whatever. But I mean, use what you have and then work with it. Don't feel like you gotta cut corners just because you see somebody doing
I want to get your opinion on something really
Of course. Don't you try to sneak in your legal advice on this
Nah,
podcast.
definitely not.
I'm going to hit you with my Cash App.
Right. Yo, Miguel, you can go down the screen real quick. Like, when it comes to showing off the lifestyle, I sort of have like an opinion on that. Like, for lack of better vocabulary, it's a necessary evil. Because like, if you look at my page, for example, like, people don't really care much about like their score, but they want the result. Like you can look, you can look at your Credit Karma and you have a high number, but if you're not doing nothing with it, like, then what are you doing, right? So I had a mindset shift, you know what I mean, or paradigm shift, whatever you want to call it, where I feel like the people that inspire me the most, if you look at the people that I follow on social media, I specifically follow people that are in a way better position than me.
Amen.
Right. One of my favorite people to follow. They start off all their stories pointing at their iced out AP, and they zoom out and they show Dubai backgrounds and everything. Right. So for lack of better vocabulary, I'm calling it like a necessary evil. Even with like Maddie J, buying designer for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's like even with the rappers with the chains and everything. Because you want them to sort of like pay attention to take action, right? So I know what you were saying, like you don't want people to get caught up in the keeping up with the Joneses, but it's just like for our people, you want them to kind of like, you want to kind of wheel them in and then tell them what's going on behind the scenes. So like, do you feel, I want both of y'all opinion, like do you feel like being flashy? I'm trying to find that middle ground, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the way I look at it, it's like we look up to these things until we look down on them, period. It's like everything new gets old eventually, but it's just like until I got it, I still want it. I don't care what you think about it. Like until a Urus is I daily drive it, then I want it just as bad. And then, cool, I drive it, I figure out, okay, maybe a cheaper car was more comfortable because every time I put the Urus in reverse, it's kind of just, it's a whole thing, and it's a heavy car, the gas mileage, whatever. Until the exotic, luxurious lifestyle is something that's so normal that's the standard. I feel like that tricks the brain into thinking of all this flashy stuff. That should be normalized. You know what I'm saying? We deserve this as kings and queens. Like, so I want to get y'all feedback on that. In terms of flexing on social media, for the benefit of inspiring people the right way. That's my perspective on it, but I want both of y'all opinion on that.
Definitely. What you think? So, y'all know Pushman Mitch, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so one day I was on live with him, and this is when I still lived in LA. And I remember he was actually out here, and he was like showing a house or something. And I remember he was like asking like, I think he was asking, like, how do I know if women really like me for me or they like me for my money? Something along those lines. So I hop into live, and I'm talking, and we're having a conversation basically about, it transitioned into, my perspective was like, there's different levels of women, right? So some women, you gotta treat different, and they're not gonna be moved by certain stuff. Yeah. And so then I was like, like for me personally, at the time, my rent there was $5,600, and I turned the camera and I show my view, and I was like, this is what I do for myself. So then he was like, wait a second, how come you don't show that more? Because, that was kind of like the first time that I showed it on social media. And I was like, I lead with my credentials. I'm gonna lead with my intellect. I'm gonna lead with what I know versus what I have.
Yeah.
But he was like, you know what? You got to get into lifestyle marketing, right? So me and him are going back and forth. And if y'all don't know him, like me and him have like very similar personalities. So we're going back and forth about it. I'm like, no, 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 no. But then I was out here and he gave me a McLaren to drive to the Floyd Mayweather fight. So then I posted a video, and you know, usually my videos get like 2,000 likes. That video got 8,000 likes. So I was like,
Like when them doors go up.
that's when I had to give in. That's when I said, oh, right, you know. Yeah, you have to go to like my real section because I have it where just my pictures. But I was like, you know what, lifestyle marketing is, you know, what is it? What did you say?
He said necessary evil.
It is a necessary evil, but what I'm not gonna do is be renting cars and being like, if you want to be like this, then buy my course. No, but how I do live, I am gonna show it. So when I do go places, I do show what I'm doing, but I'm never gonna like be like super flashy, super like aggressive with it. And I do think it is necessary for you to show receipts. So for you, right, you know, you're talking to people about, you know, credit. You're talking to people about getting luxury vehicles. At the end of the day, I DM'd him this morning like, hey, you do credit? I need to talk to you because I'm ready to get my exotic. So it's like, because you want people to come to you for that, then I feel like it's okay to show that. Now, if we have a person who is in a whole different field, right? Like maybe they're in food. It's like, is it necessary for you to be showing money when, you know, like the message is food? So lifestyle marketing, I would say it really just depends on what it is that you're selling. And then it also, you have to have your own moral compass behind it about like, you know, am I misleading the people? Because, you know, I see it as I'm a shepherd, and I'm not calling people sheep in a
Derogatory way or
exactly.
Yeah,
I'm just leading the blind. So every day I'm gonna check my moral compass and ask myself, you know, is how I'm getting their attention wrong or right, you know? Mm-hmm. And if I feel like if I do some controversial thing to get their attention, if I know my heart is pure, because my actual mission is to protect and help my people. So if I gotta go to how they used to sing things to get them, then so be it.
So I have similar views, but also different views. So when you're marketing for whatever industry that you're in, it kind of also depends like the demographic of who's following you. Mm-hmm. So I've been on social media since 2007. It's only probably in the last 2 years that there's been a demographic that is interested in looking at stuff like this. So coming from real estate, which is where I started, the videos that I was showing, I'd be showing people when I'm in a flip where we just pulled down the roof and there's dirt everywhere and we have masks on and there's, you know, people lugging sheetrock in and out. Mm-hmm. That was what would build their confidence to watch me more, listen to me more, subscribe to me more, and maybe buy, you know, my real estate cheat sheet, which was what, I think $600 at the time. So it's kind of like finding out the people that are following you or that are watching you, like, who are they? Right. What are they? Some of them don't necessarily care about, oh, he's got a Rolls Royce or a Lambo. Sometimes there are some people now that if people that use that type of marketing, they'll look at him like, man, he might be one of those guys that's just like tricky. You know what I'm saying? So like people are kind of awake now. It's not that, oh, you see a Lambo or you see somebody with, and you just think that, yeah, they got exactly what you need. Yeah. Some people may be wary and stay away from that. And then some people are drawn into that. So what I've been trying to do is kind of balance on how to use it where it's necessary to where it doesn't look corny. Because that was one of the reasons why I think I told you earlier, is like I was kind of scared to show my lifestyle because I thought it was corny. I thought it was like, oh, see my view, we on the 29th floor penthouse. I thought it was corny, you know.
I'm gonna let you continue.
Yeah.
But I was telling him and I was telling your business partner over there, I was like, yo, you would go to your page and you would never know. And I say, I know why though, because it's like when you've achieved like real success, you have zero need for validation.
Correct.
and you're too busy living that stuff, and your life is like a movie. Like you don't really need to even be on Instagram at all.
Yeah.
Your life is real life lit.
Very true. Very
so
true.
I completely understood it. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was hanging out, with people that have made over $100 million for, you know what I mean? Like they weren't on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like me being even involved with that whole lifestyle. I was like not on Instagram as much. I was like, I'm really just like I was present.
Yeah.
Amen.
I was present, you know what I mean? And I understood that about you. Like you would have never guessed. Like
I
you
knew.
would have accomplished.
I looked
You know
at
what I'm
him.
saying?
And my first thing to him, he came on the way that me and Tosin met
Yeah.
is because I was doing Instagram audits on live, and Tosin was like, "Check out my Instagram," and I was like, "Bro, you're lit. What are you asking me for any advice for? You got it already." And I think that with a person like you, I love that Asian guy where he'll show the real estate, he'll show the car, and he'll be like, "You don't buy this first."
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Thatch.
What's his name again?
It's Thatch.
Oh, yeah, him, yeah.
It's both. It's like, I think a hybrid of like, I love Doug Depth because he's showing himself in the trenches,
Yep.
in the houses.
Yeah.
And then I also love, you really got a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
So pull up to your projects in the car
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you really drive, bro. Have a conversation from them in the penthouse that's really yours, bro.
Yeah. So it was when, after that little audit, she was kind of saying, okay, like, show a bit more. Don't always just look like you're just in the trenches all the time, or you're just so much in just like
You
the
be documenting
processes
the
and
process,
procedures.
though. Yeah.
But I've been in that history,
Yeah.
just document what you're doing. And I've been doing that for like 13 years.
Yeah.
Let me just show what I'm
Dang.
doing since
You've been an
2007.
entrepreneur since
Yeah, since 2007. You know what I'm saying?
respect.
And so it was my typical uniform is sweatpants and a t-shirt. When have you ever seen me bleed get fly?
He be having a hat on,
Yeah,
basketball shorts.
I used to forget to get my hair cut, get lined up, because it was kind of like I wasn't trying to necessarily market my lifestyle. I was more trying to like make sure that I felt comfortable knowing that I have a business that's sustainable.
Amen.
It was like, I want to make sure that it's like, regardless of whether people think I got it, don't got it, that when these bills come, I can actually pay them and be comfortable. And then with my mom, who's 65 years old and is trying to retire, well, she's semi trying to retire, trying to restart, her nursing home business. And she's like, hey, I need 40 grand. And I can actually give that to her, as opposed to, I go put 40 on like a ice style watch or whatever, and I look amazing, but like behind the scenes, I can't give my mom 20 grand. I can't give my mom 25,000, you know what I'm saying? And so I was more of looking at like, the Donahue Peebles of the world, the people that billionaires, but looking at them, you wouldn't know, they show their family all the time, they show their mother, their kids, when they're going out to dinner with, on their 20th year anniversary. And I was really attracted to that. And I was like, I like that style. That's dope. But then it's like, okay, but sometimes people got to see it to think that it's possible for them.
Right.
And I think that my transparency and the way I've carried myself for so long, that if I did throw in a little flash here and say, I bought myself a Rolls Royce Ghost for my birthday cash, then it would kind of show that,
We talked about how that was not the best credit related.
Yeah, it wasn't the best thing, but I was like,
But that's still dope to be able
could
to
do it.
Yeah. And so just, doing that, and then knowing that, okay, I was able to do this because of the last 8-9 years to where I've been wearing sweatpants and t-shirts all day.
Yeah.
And making sure that I had reserves and making sure that I was saving my money, kind of like being a hoarder with my money and not going on trips or vacations. The first time I've gone on a vacation that was purely for vacation was 3 months ago.
And his girl paid. That's so fire.
And it was my girl that paid for it. Like,
That's so fire.
because she was like, you don't ever do anything for yourself. And so, but yeah, I think it's a good balance. You got to know how to be able to balance the two, to show the lifestyle and show like these are the fruits that are bared from watering that seed for all these years. And then it kind of lets people see not only the beginning, the hustle and the grind, but also the outcome. And so I'm just now getting into that part of knowing how to, in the right proportion, show the end. And then also, like, this is something I've always wanted to talk about, is that one of the ways that you grow is through mergers and acquisitions.
Amen.
I don't own all these cars. I own this one, the one outside, but these are my partner's cars. So we joined together to grow a bigger business. You know, and so if I want to take the Lamborghini to go out for a meeting or to go, you know, park in South Beach and, you know, when people come and compliment you, I can get to talk to them about the business. I'm doing it not because I'm trying to go shine on South Beach. I'm going out to find leads.
Amen.
To grow the business. So it's not fun for me. It's like I'm still working.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still working. I'm not picking up girls. I'm going out my, anybody who says, nice car, man, I'm going to talk to them. Yeah, so, you know, if you ever want to rent one of these things, you know, we got this, we got that. What's your phone number? Let me, you know, put you in our SMS group and et cetera, et cetera. And so, you know, that's kind of like my approach. But yeah, I mean, that's why we're here now. I'm trying to show the flash, you know what I'm saying? I can see what's going on.
I can't wait until our community gets over the stronghold that things have over us, because the way that I grew up is I grew up around people who were like multi-generations in to business, and they don't live how, you know, our community aspires to be. And I actually was talking about this morning, but Willie Lynch said, he was like, if you want to keep a Negro, all you got to do is give him some shiny shoes and a nice hat, and that's enough to make a Negro happy. But the Bible says that a good man provides for his children's children's children. So I look forward to the day that like our mindset shifts from I'm about to get this and this so that I could prove the people that hate me wrong, and I'm about to sit still so the people I love and who are my seeds eat for generations upon generations. But if we got to do it right now, in the meantime, let's ball.
That's a fact. It's a mixture of both. I think, and even at our age and where we're at in our lives and our careers now, there's certain things that are important to us now. When we get to like 65, I think what's going to be the cool thing for us being 65 is that I have a trust for all my kids and grandkids, and they're good. There's $5.6 or $8 million in a living trust for my kids, and I think that's the stuff that we'll be talking about when we're 65. Like, hey, how much is in the trust for your grandson?
Yeah.
Is the college tuition paid for everybody going up to a PhD? Like, what you got? You know what I'm saying? So, trying to like put my brain, trying to get that 65-year-old mentality now.
Yeah, man.
Because we can always have fun and buy these things. And I mean, how much does it really cost to get a Rolex? You went for 10 grand, you know?
Yeah.
You can put that off and establish some real solid stuff. And then you can get a Rolex. I mean, if you want any car, you got good credit, you can, a down payment, $40,000 down payment can get you pretty much any car you can think of.
That's a lot of money. 40 G's.
It is, but it's not as difficult for that to run through your hands when you're running. You already know. Come on, Ash. Yeah, like that's a lot of money.
It's crazy.
She touched that like it ain't nothing.
But I just told my dad, right? So I literally, while we were setting up this podcast, right, I was like, Dad, I'm about to buy this condo. It's $560,000. The realtor said I need 10 down, which is $56,000. So it's like, dang. We can acquire a property or we can acquire a car. Now, granted, he's different. If he's putting that down on the car, he's making it an asset. But if we're putting it down for the sole purpose of rolling up on our old block to stun on our haters, go buy the condo.
Yeah, go get the condo. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not going to be an asset, like, I just want us to delay the gratification a little bit. And I personally, my past year and a half, it was a lesson of, girl, delay gratification, because I was flying here, flying there, eating this, eating that, first class flights everywhere, and I'm just like, F all that.
How do you feel about people that, get to that level that you are, but they never had anything before, and they're like, I've never experienced this, so I want to go all in now, like, because I've never ever.
Like they want to go stupid for a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. Like, I've never had $300 brunches or been able to just hop on a plane and go to Atlanta, go to Miami, and they're able to, and it's like something that they just want to experience because they've never ever, and it's like now they can do it.
I did it, so I feel like they got to do it.
Yeah.
I literally, the past year and a half, I was wilding. I was like living like a rapper, but I'm like, people are seeing less of me these days, because I'm like, it's time to really, have a very solid foundation. Like when I was writing my 2022 goals, I was like, man, my real estate portfolio is about to be crazy because I know what I'm capable of doing. So if I just sit down and grind right now for 1 year, I might be able to retire next year, you know? So I just had a huge, and maybe it was, I just turned 32. So maybe it was me turning 30 because like for me, I think women shouldn't work in general. So I'm like,
This comes from somebody that works her ass off saying women shouldn't work.
we
But
shouldn't
continue.
work. I take care of myself. That's why.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when there's a man in my life, I'm gonna be like, what are you talking about? I'm supposed to work. What is wrong with you? I'm about to go tell your dad on you. I literally told this guy last night, I was on FaceTime with him. He was like, what you think about going 50-50? I said, I think I'm about to call my dad and tell him that this man said we're going to go 50-50 and see what he said. But, you know, I just want to set things up where I'm still getting my money, but I'm not working, because when I have kids, like, they're going to, who's teaching them? Sierra. They schools ain't teaching them. Half the time in our community, we're always bashing education, but it's like, well, you do understand that parents have a job to teach too. So I want to be available to teach my kids, and it's no man or child in sight, but I'm had to set up my life for them, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of started answering some of the questions
Sorry.
that I already had, which is perfect. That means it's flowing perfectly, because I was going to ask you, like, from outside looking in, it can appear like you have everything you want. I know you're trying to accomplish getting another property, and now you want to get another exotic. So I was going to ask you, you know, it seems like the material stuff kind of just, you look down on that kind of stuff. It's just like, it's not a big deal. It's kind of like a standard.
Yeah, it's
so
a standard.
What actually excites you? I mean, you can go to any country you want impulsively. What wakes you up in the morning? What actually, you want to retire soon? Like, what gets you out of bed?
Man, so I'm going to be real honest with y'all. So I told y'all, like, I've been teaching for 1.5 years, but literally the last 6 months of my life, I was chilling. I was chilling like a retired person, and I was like, this is freaking amazing, you know, to really like wake up and go where I want and do what I want. So now I really want to set a solid foundation where I can live like that, like forever. You know, I want my exotic whip, and it's not for the gram. It's so that when I go to Whole Foods, you know, I'm packing up a dope whip with my groceries. When I go to yoga, I'm, you know, in a fly little whip. So I can go to the design district and buy what I want. So I don't really look down on material things. It's just like you said, it is a standard for me. Like I grew up with a certain level of things, so it's just like my taste is different. But I just want to travel, like you said. And when I travel, I want to be on a private jet. And I'm personally, like, now that I'm 30, I'm like, forget all this. Where's my husband at? Like, I'm bored. You know,
So
I'm
you say you're
bored.
planning for that anyways. It's like, yeah.
So I'm really just like
Serious about it.
kind of coasting until my husband comes, and I'm be like, so what's our life plan?
Right.
What you got for us, sir?
Right. When
What
get
you
that
what you been working on?
life
You've
partner.
been waiting for me, so, and I know you've been saying that you was gonna do this and that when you get a wife. So what we doing, sir?
Exactly. Exactly. That's dope. That's dope. And I wanted to continue on that point, like you said, the materials things is kind of like your standard, and that was going to my point earlier. It's like, I feel like people should make that the standard in their life, but not prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
They got to set up the right way at first. Like, me and my brother over there, like, we always argue about this. Like, you can flash my screen real quick. Like, he always sees my screensaver. I'm like, yo, everything on the screensaver, like, I'm not saying it's wrong that it might not interest you, but we gotta be on the same page. Like, I desire these things because it's like I look up to them until I have it, and that's the new normal. Because I really feel like in the past life I was a pharaoh. You know what I mean? The past life, it's just like, we deserve nice things. These people are out here making hundreds and millions of dollars. And so for our color, why should we say, oh, I don't want to be too flashy?
Do you think nice is like subjective though? Because like
I do think it's subjective. My other brother, he was like, nah, I just want a big crib. I don't want to do that. But I was like, that's because you come from the south side of Chicago, and you know it's gonna put a target on your back.
Yeah.
You know, I was saying he had a poverty mentality, and he got offended. I was like, look, I get it, but I'm not trying to force you to desire nice things. I'm just saying like don't tell me when you get rich you're still not gonna go out and buy the Rolls Royce. That becomes the new standard. We always want to move further away from pain and towards pleasure by default.
Yeah.
So don't tell me you don't want the best of the best to be your standard to the point where you don't yours is collecting dust. Like why not? It's cool. And then I'm gonna transition this into like, about corporate, like the corporate structure and taxes. Like some of these people, they gotta spend this money on the most expensive watch they can find before the year is over, right?
Yeah. Okay.
They have to. That's another thing that people are not saying. Like they think they're flexing on the gram. Why you buying a private jet? It's like, it's either that or it's going to Uncle Sam. Correct me if I'm wrong. Could you enlighten me on how that works, where some people, they gotta spend this money for the write-offs? Can you enlighten me on that?
I'm so happy that you asked that, right? Because, okay, so at the end of the year, we have a decision to make whether we're going to get our tax write-offs or we're going to give it to Uncle Sam. But investing in your business is also an option, right? So I have a problem with, and don't get me wrong, everything that's on here, I personally want as well. Everything, from the APs to the McLaren, everything, right? But I really want, us to get to a place, right? It's like we're playing catch up still with the rest of the world. And the things that we think are big is very, very small in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Because if we're looking really, really big, if we're looking at America, we're not making and producing anything here. The only thing we make here is entertainment and clothing. We don't have, conglomerates. We don't have huge corporations. If we look at like what black company is trading publicly. So at what point do we shift our mindsets to starting to build things like that? And I'm not shaming nobody, because y'all just heard me say I don't even want to work. But I'm like, dang, like who's gonna be the ones, like when are we gonna start like coming together and being like, we're gonna form this huge corporation, and I'm talking like properly structured, like we're actually having, board of director meetings. We're actually acquiring like huge plants that's producing some type of solution. We're actually, we're not just, we have a lot of restaurants, but how many of us have land and, we have cattle, we have produce, we're providing water, we're providing some type of necessity. We're not providing lights, we're not providing cement, we're not providing oil, we're not providing any solutions anywhere. And do we have any hospitals? Only 5% of lawyers, only 2% of lawyers is black women. It's like, we really don't want to do nothing that's like where the money really is at, So I'm just like, I literally be sitting at home by myself, like, who thinks like me?
Right.
Where are they at? Because when I get to talking, people like,
it goes over their head.
Yeah, and that's why my followers love me, because I get to talking like this.
I mean, it goes over their head because maybe they're not, that perspective hasn't been shown to them. So it's like you can only look at what you can see. It's like if I can only see X, Y, Z, I don't know that all this other stuff behind me exists because I can only see this. So you're only going to want what you can see. And so by you giving another perspective, it gives something else for somebody to desire. But you have to be shown that. It's like, how do you want what you don't know exists?
Right.
I think that's one of the things that we're kind of battling with. I mean, now we're in a time right now where to be young and have a business is very common, and it's very easy to get to a space to where you can take care of yourself and take care of your family. But we're seeing it done in only like a certain limited amount of industries and ways. And like she said, nobody's interested. You can buy, 100 acres of land in the Midwest for like $300,000. Like they don't know it's that cheap. Like in like Nebraska, Missouri, Illinois, and you can have a farm or you
A
can
mobile house, a
or
mobile home
or you can
community.
lease out
Right.
your land to
Right.
somebody who's actually running a farm business, so you don't even have to be in that. So I got 300 acres. Maybe Chiquita or some company that does that needs to expand, or they want to graze cattle. You can lease that to them for a significant amount of money every month and a net proceed of what they make every month, and be well off of land, off of an asset. And so, but if that's not spoken about, it's not, the sexy things right now is what? Real estate, cars, entertainment, sports.
It's not even real estate yet. We're stuck on freaking Airbnb got a strong hold on our community.
Yeah, because it's quick. It's quick. It's an illusion of quick money.
It makes me sick. I'm like, and him and I share a realtor.
Yeah.
Our realtor is a broker, and he's 20, I don't know, he's young. He's younger than us. He's not even 30.
Yeah.
And him and I, we went to happy hour, and he was like, first of all, it's called short-term rentals. And he was like, this Airbnb thing, this isn't really how people are really getting to the bag in real estate. So it's just like, dang, like our community, like we just have so much work to do. But I'm not the person who's just gonna be like negative Nancy, because I do see a major shift.
Yeah, definitely.
Major shift. If we talking about credit, I'm happy. If I'm a lawyer and people listen to me when I'm talking about forming an LLC, I'm happy, because all progress takes time. So I'm happy that they're even like opening their mind to like new things. But it's just like when I'm talking to my kids, like just know that my kids gonna be different. They're not gonna be talking regular. Like there's no question. Yes, you're taking your ass to college. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
You're going to college. Like what? You're getting a master's too. Yeah. What? You're getting the doctorate too. Yeah. Why? Like what else are you gonna do? Worry about money? No, we got it already. So you're gonna go get educated.
Yeah. Get the experience. Just you don't have to necessarily practice with what you get your degree with, but going to college to me was one of the best things for my life, not because of the degree, but because of like just the experience of being around people, the socialization, the different life skills you learn from being in a dorm, having to go to class at 8 a.m. You learn time management. There's all these things that you take away for the rest of your life and can be applied in so many ways. And so I think like the experiences is what, the multitude of experiences that we can have that can help us in the long term is what I think, we should shed light on. And I think now more than ever, we have the ability to do that. Our parents weren't able to just go get student loans in 1976. If you wanted to go to college, you had to have the money. Now, you can just go get a student loan easier than you could a car loan or a mortgage. And
I feel like, man, they got to regulate that. I don't know how, when I was 18, why would they approve me? Oh my God.
It's
like
a
$80,000.
double-edged sword. There's
For
a
what?
good, there's
I
a
was
good
like,
and bad
make it-
side to
man.
everything.
They approved me, like, it's ridiculous. Like, they approved me for
I think it should be
this
more
student
qualification.
loan.
Right,
it was
right.
like $80,000 because I had some warehouse job. And I was like, well, I could do $400 for the next 88 months or something. It was just like, it was just not set up for me to get approved. You know what I mean? Like, no credit back then. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, at the end of the day, that current temporary dead-end job, like, how did I get approved for that much in student loans? And then it just got expensive really quick. And then it was just like, I wasn't really feeling the value from that school that I went to. I tried going to college. I tried to go to like college like 4 different times with 4 different schools. It just wasn't working. It got expensive like super quick.
You know why? I think that, so when we look at education, we think that that's the means to the end.
Yeah.
We literally think that school is supposed to teach us how to start a business, right? But if we look at who we're competing with, like I said, people who are like 3 generations into a business.
Yeah.
So when our counterparts are going to school, they're networking solely, they're expanding their minds. There's a lot of people, I'd be like, yeah, you say you don't go to school, but you can't read like me, you can't write like me. Yeah. But you're arguing with me about going to school, but you cannot. If you hand me a book and I hand a person, that hasn't gone to school a book, I'm going to absorb the information that much faster. If I have to communicate anything in writing, my writing is superior because I'm a lawyer, so I've been trained to write. So it's the skills, right? It's not necessarily like the this taught me how to get a bag, right?
Yeah.
Whose job was it to teach me how to get a bag? The people who taught me to get the bag. So us, right? Our job now, when we have kids, we have to understand that it's going to be our job to teach them certain things. You know, school has so much value. And then I think, like when you said the regulating thing, right? When it comes to being able to, you know, approve a student's.
A 17-year-old.
So imagine.
Yeah, and not all schools are the same, and not all teachers are the same. The teachers are the most important part, honestly. But the whole curriculum or the system, right? Usually that's where there's a fault because people don't get that out of it, right? You know, like it's usually pretty like hollow or whatever, right? Like a school experience. You know, the majority of people don't get what they should have out of the experience. But I do agree that, you know, it can polish you for the long run, like you're saying, right? And I have actually a quote. I don't know if it sounds contradictory, but I always tell people, I said, don't let school fuck up your education. And I say that because I come from scrapping things together and having a self-education to the point where if I did jump into school, I would be soaking up 10 times as much as the student next to me because I have that scrappiness. Like I'm pulling and I know how to let myself learn and soak stuff in. And school itself did not teach me that, but I know I could pull that from school now. And I think like you have to learn how to learn. I don't know, like
that's different for everybody.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that's the difference.
But school, like we got to get off the thing that's going to college is what we learn in the classroom. There's also things you can learn about yourself from being in a college atmosphere or like higher education. Like if you've never been around, you know, lived in the dorm, you may not know that maybe you get anxiety when you're around a whole bunch of people that you don't know. And now you know, oh, when I'm around a lot of strangers and we're living in this building together, and now you learn how to deal with certain things that maybe would have never brought themselves up if you were always at home. So there's a lot of things that you learn from being in that ecosystem. And so those are the things that like you won't really, some of those things you won't know until you're actually there. And so that's why I always think that, you know, people should at least give it a shot. Not saying you have to finish or you have to get the biggest degree or you have to do a 4-year degree, but I think just having that be a part of your growth in life, that a phase, a stage, because it's not forever, it can be important. There's something you can take away from that. And of course, it's not perfect, you know, but tell me what system that is perfect.
No,
like, there's no such thing as a perfect system.
I would say it's on really the parents to teach that kid how to learn and how to maximize that and what to come in to learn from it and gain from it. And all the better when you can literally do that and have your offspring be that their only task, like literally. You know what I'm saying? Like go 100%. Experience, go change your perspective and go take that out of school,
100%.
right? I think that, yeah, definitely, I agree.
If we were living in a perfect world, I would say, like, if we had the chance to make things right now, I would say if all of us could start trust, you know.
I was about to ask you
They
about
don't
that.
teach that in school, though. Do they? Do they teach that in school?
Yeah, no, because rich people who have trust, they already know this, right? So we're playing catch up. It's not, the reason school doesn't teach it is because the people already there already know it. So because this is where it's like so hard for our community because we're behind. So if we're to play catch up, you know, and to like right all the wrongs, you know, us right here, right? Do y'all have kids? So it's like we are right now, if we start shifting our mind, when I have kids,
That imprint.
right now I'm gonna have a trust fund right now. You know, I'm not gonna buy that AP. I'm gonna put that cash into the trust for my kid, and maybe it's in an index fund. And by the time my kid is 18, they are going to inherit $500,000, and I'm gonna train them.
Limitations on it, saying like 18 they get this much, then 25 this, and whatever.
That's
So
the trust fund.
You literally, you it's your desires for your child, right? So let's say we give them $500,000 and we say, you know, this is gonna be for your house. We're buying you a house. You ain't about to live in no dorm.
Yeah.
We're gonna buy you a house when you go to college. We're gonna pay for your education. You're gonna choose whatever, you know, whatever major you want. Don't think about making money. Just go there and learn. You have enough privilege that I have carried on my back for you to go be free and go figure out who you are.
Yeah,
But
important.
as you were growing up, whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm teaching you, right? When I was growing up, I was learning business. So even if I don't do any business that's like my parents, I still have those skills already. That's why like it was so easy for me to just start making money, because it's like I've been marketing my entire life. I've been selling my entire life, you know? So it's like privilege, it puts people in a whole different position. That's why it's called privilege. But it's really our job to create that for our children, you know? And I argue with my parents, I give them shit all the time, but it's like really, you know, there would be no Sierra ESQ if they didn't, you know, if they were like, you're going to the babysitter today, or you're gonna go hang out with your cousin, you know, whatever, you could go hang out with your friends. And I've been working my entire life, literally my entire life. So it's just like, it's given me a perspective that maybe might be a little different than other 30-year-olds, right? So I just think we have to create that for our kids and, you know, send them to top universities. But like, let's say our kid has an idea before, like let's say Kylie's a great example of privilege. Hey mom, I want to sell lip gloss. That's privilege right there. You get to make billions off of lip gloss because your family carried the torch for you, and all you got to do is pick it up. That's the opportunities that we have to create for our kids.
Right.
We
It shouldn't
gotta
be
do
looked
it.
upon as bad. That should be something
Privilege
you want for
is
your
a good thing, but
Yeah.
some reason, even when you say it because it's had a negative connotation
that
put on it,
stigma.
but it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you not want to come from privilege? Like, my dad came here when he was 17 years old, and my grandfather said, no, you're going to America when you're 17 because you're going to go there and figure stuff out and work and get some things together. And it's like, if you don't come from privilege, does that mean that your parents like squabbled their opportunity? Like, it sounds like it should be a bad thing to not come from privilege. But for some reason we've like kind of twisted it
Right,
to
I'm
make
trying
it
to
like,
give my kids privilege.
it's like,
we said, like
why would I want my children, you know, for me to
Struggle
have,
to
have a whole family
struggle.
and then when
What?
I'm done and retired, they got to struggle. So what was I doing? That just showed, that means that I did nothing. It's like, it's more of a reflection on who
Yeah.
they came from than
Yeah.
them, you know? And so I think privilege is good, and trying to figure out ways to where we make that cool, to where the stunt and the real flex is that, yeah, I'm gonna have privileged kids, I'm gonna have a privileged family, I'm gonna have a privileged
look how good
lineage.
I set it up for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
my dad be bragging on me all the time.
Oh yeah, he did a good job with you. Definitely.
He be bragging on me all the time. So just imagine, like, when we have kids, just imagine looking at your offspring
Yeah.
in the world freaking killing it,
Yeah.
and knowing that, you know, my decisions that I made helped my child. My child didn't have to struggle. My
That's
child
another
didn't have to
level of peace.
figure out
That's
their
real, yeah.
identity.
That's another level of peace right there.
My child didn't have to struggle to pay rent. Come on, like, that's why my mind's shifting, because I'm like, well, I'm 30 and I'm gonna be a mom eventually, so I gotta, you know, create that for my children. But what for us right now, you know, I think that if we're like just shifting our mindset to like, yeah, I make money, but all this money ain't mine, you know? So before I spend it, let me think about it, because I might just be taking from my children right now.
Right. And then you have like accountants and CPAs that you hire that give you like tax advice, right? And you too, of course, right?
Yeah, sometimes you gotta fire. My first account that I hired, when I started getting, they messed up my whole thing. So that, just because you have an accountant, you gotta make sure it's a good one. Sometimes
Hey,
to
same-
get good accountants, you gotta go through a couple. And I learned that the hard way. Sometimes you gotta go through a couple. Because there's a lot of people that are tax preparers, tax strategists, or have an accounting degree. There are accountants, but there's good mechanics and there's bad mechanics. There's
Real
good
estate
dentists,
agents,
there's bad
same,
dentists.
right.
So like, you got to make sure you actually get a quality one, and that's a trial and error thing.
Do you
just
have
like
a
anything in
CPA
life.
or?
Yeah,
Because to
she's
me,
a
I'm like
CPA.
CPA.
Yeah, she's a CPA
I want the
now.
person who had to pass that exam.
Denisha Gray, that's my CPA now. So if you guys want to follow her, Denisha Gray,
Sure.
I finally got in touch with her. I've known her for a couple of years, but I didn't bring her on until I realized who I had was just doing a very bad job for me. Very bad job for me, and it was costing me a lot of money. And I said, you know what, I got to make a change, because at this rate, they could put me in a very bad situation to where I got to pay more than I need to pay.
Right,
And my
right.
CPA, they've been my parents' CPA forever. So I
Dope.
just, at this point,
Vetted.
it's scary,
perfect.
right? It's so scary when you start to talk about sharing your social security numbers with people.
Yes.
You talk about sharing bank accounts with people. That's
Yeah,
scary.
right. You got to make them a user on your bank account, so maybe they can't have any real power, but they can at least log in and then categorize everything and like, yeah. Because I was trying to find the right CPA and then like they're dragging their feet. It's like they instructed me to categorize everything. I'm like, that'll take forever. You know what I'm saying? I need like the app that take pictures of receipts and all that stuff, But yeah, I thought, isn't that your job? I give you the login to my bank account, like categorize that.
You
So
gotta get an accountant to, do
yeah,
that, to
yeah.
manage your books.
Exactly, managing the books and everything. Like, those are sort of the key people that you need on your team starting a business out front. Like, could you maybe, I don't know, drop any sort of gems as far as like just the setup? Just the setup. You get your paperwork with the state EIN number, and then you elect to be taxed as a specific corporation depending on your industry, right? But when it comes to, and then you can set up your payroll so that you're self-employed, and then there's tax withholding when you're paying yourself bi-weekly or weekly, whatever. So it's like, what about like starting to hire other people? Like, who are the key people that you should want on your team? We just mentioned a few. Like, you have a bookkeeper, and then a lawyer. What would be
Yeah.
your setup? How would you describe somebody
Definitely.
getting set up the right way?
First of all, and this is why, this is a beautiful conversation, right? Because a lot of people, they want to start a business with their own money, And it's like, no, you need to start a business with a lot of money so that you can hire the right team, So starting off, I think it's so important to have a lawyer, a CPA. There's certain industries, right? I would say the way you're structuring your business, like you want a person who is like a systems person, and then you want a person who's like a marketing person, who's like bringing the money in. Marketing people and systems people don't think the same. Systems people think logistics. Marketing people, the thing about it is, I'm more of a marketing person. So if I sit down with a logistics person, I'm like, I'm gonna bring you the money. What you talking about?
Right.
I don't know how we're gonna, logistically, how this is gonna happen. That's your job to figure that out, And then a person that's handling logistics, they can't figure out how to bring the bag in to save their life, So you need systems, operations, marketing. You have to have a legal team, accounting team. What else? Administrative people. So who's going to be answering your phones? Who's going to be, handling the day-to-day task. And it's really hard for me to say what team we need unless we're talking specific industries, right? Because it's I think about, my business, my law firm, the structure of it is so simple. It's literally so simple. It goes from marketing, hand a case to Morgan & Morgan, wait for a check, right? If I think about a business like my mom's, she has a caregiving agency. So her team is way different than mine. She has a caregiver. She has multiple caregivers. She has a payroll person because they have to do the timesheets of the caregivers every day, and then submitting billing of the timesheets to either the insurance companies or to the private paying clients. Then there has to be a marketing person. There has to be a person who is doing the day-to-day bookkeeping, legal compliance, because sometimes there's issues with just stuff,
moving parts.
So every business has a different team they need, but I'm being biased, but every business needs an attorney and a CPA, no matter what the business is, because you need to make sure that you're setting it up properly, that you're, compliance-wise, legally, day to day that you're living, right? And then you need the person that's managing the money. So
Yeah, okay. And then is every business required to have a business license?
yeah, in their state, in their city that
No
they're
matter what.
operating.
It goes down to the county and city level, right? If it's not state, because it usually isn't state, right? It's usually like a very small
City, like your
Right.
wherever your municipality is.
Right.
So like Los Angeles, business license.
It doesn't matter what industry.
Yeah, I know in Florida it's like an occupational license, right? It's just any, like even if you have a business that's not specialty, it's got to just be occupational.
It also depends on the zoning of the area too. That's
Right.
why they have zoning, like certain places can't be in certain parts of the city.
If you're brick and mortar or whatever,
And
'Cause
also
digital
like
as
the
well.
industry. So like the establishment that's across the street. There's some parts of Miami where you can't put a business like that.
Yeah.
Because the zoning is like residential,
permit it.
whatever. It's like it's not permitted. You know what I'm saying? So
like you
depending.
can't have a event space and maybe like a corporate office, like a corporate
Correct. Yeah.
space,
all that
like
red tape.
Or in like a townhouse community, you can't have I don't know.
a hot dog shop.
Yeah, or a car wash like right there. It's like it's got to be certain places. So that can also depend on what licenses you got to get and permission. So it's really industry specific depending on what you're trying to do.
And that's why I say you need a lawyer, right? Because it's like whatever your business is. So my mom, she
expert,
has
right.
certain licenses for her business. So I was the person, I literally was like in high school getting her license for her business, but it's like different industries have different requirements, It really like, and then for us, it's like, I think a lot of people feel like we just know everything. Lawyers are great researchers. So when you hire a lawyer, you're not hiring them to know something. You're hiring them to research something for
And then
you.
vouch for it, the info. It's like you can trust it because it comes from a lawyer.
Because they researched it.
Exactly.
And we have the bar that, that holds us accountable. So we can't just be like, this is the answer if we don't really know. We got to research the things that we don't know, and then how many hours it took to
Billable
research
hours.
something is what you pay for,
Gotcha.
when you're paying for an attorney.
That's why they call it the billable hours or whatever.
Oh my God, I used to be a slave to billable hours, and that's why I'm so happy to be free, because I like a billable hour is by a 0.7 increment. So literally everything that we do is not billable. It's not billable for me to like go mail something. So it's not every phone conversation is not billable. So at my own law firm, I had to bill I think it was 50 hours a week, but not all hours are billable of a day. So that's a lot of hours of work to bill for 50 hours.
So you may have to get like 70 hours in to find 50 that you can actually bill for. Wow, I never.
Not me neither.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That changes my outlook.
It's depressing. That's why I'm like, y'all can do that if y'all want to. I'll just send you the cases. Have fun, guys. I'll be on a boat today.
Yeah, do it. Oh man.
What would be, I know you've heard horror stories in your industry, right? Do you know, you don't have to mention any names, but what would be an example? How does a business owner know that they hired the wrong lawyer? Are there any red flags when starting off you're looking for the right lawyer? Like, are there any red flags that come to mind?
Or like how to vet it, like how to
Pretty
vet 'em
much.
Yeah.
before it happens.
I would say social credibility,
Ask around and
you look at Yelp, you look at people's websites, you say that's why I partnered with Morgan & Morgan, because it's like if you come to me with a car accident, you're going to go to their website, and when I tell you that I'm partnered with Morgan & Morgan, you're going to be like, oh wow, they've recovered billions of dollars for people, so I know they can get me money, so it's like the same way that people be like, what's your receipts with these instructors? Ask the lawyer for their receipts. And when it comes to because that's a person that's defending you or suing on behalf of you. But when it comes to transactional things, I would say finding a lawyer is really look at their reviews and ask questions, how many clients have you had like this? Have you ever don't go to a real estate attorney being like, hey, I want to start a nail shop and think that they have the answers for you. You got to make sure that they've worked with people in your respective industry before you like hire them.
Oh wow, yeah.
And then we're held to a higher standard, so we can't just be like, oh, I'm $1,200 an hour. Like, you know, we have to charge reasonable fees. So I would like to say that we're all honorable, but I don't know.
That's cool. That's cool. So, man, I definitely appreciate this conversation, and we're definitely going to have more of them. And then I know you say you're interested in your own podcast, and I would like to assist anywhere I can, whatever 2 cents or value I can bring to that situation when you start your own podcast officially. But in the meantime, I know you always go live on social media almost daily. And it's hard not to click on it to wonder what you're talking about. You're collaborating with other people that have big names in this space, in the entrepreneur space. And I say it's preaching. It's like spreading the good word, and it's a lot of inspiration on those lives.
Thank you so much.
You know, wrapping things up, I do want to encourage everybody to follow her page. You can see it there on the screen. Follow her page. That's exactly how you spell it. That's how you can get in tune with her. She even posts her number in the bio. That's a lot of followers. I hope they're blowing you up.
I mean, it's a business phone.
Yeah. So, like, what can people expect from you coming into the new year? Even working with you, I know you do some courses, workshops, consultations, right? So, what do people that's following you or may not know of you before this, like, what can they expect from you and how to work with you moving forward? What are you working on that you want to let people know about?
You know, it's so funny because that's actually the hardest question you asked me. Because, so 2 weeks ago, Stripe closed my account.
Really? Did they give you a reason?
Yeah, they did. And it's because I had like a $400 product. I did a payment plan, and it was like $67 for each payment. And like 3 people disputed every single transaction. I had someone who I basically like discovered her when she had like 3,000 followers. And, you know, I put her on my platform and just basically like taught her all the sauce. And she like blew up, stole my course. And now she's selling my course. I had just a rough year when it came to courses. So I literally, like, up until 3 days ago, I was like, I'm not teaching y'all no more. I was literally like, I'm done teaching because I've had enough. Like, I'm over here, like, feel like I'm over here saving the world, and I'm like, I feel unappreciated. And I'm like, at the end of the day, the courses that I sell y'all are for $50, and y'all might think that I'm getting a bag here, but if I focus on law, like, the amounts of money that I make, period, will far exceed everybody on the internet. So I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna focus on, you know, marketing for Morgan & Morgan. But I just had an outpouring of people like mad as hell at me, like, you can't stop teaching us. So now I'm like literally strategizing, like, okay, well, what things do I teach? So I would say when it comes to teaching, because I'm strategizing right now, I think generational wealth is like heavy on my mind. So I'm thinking like the next chapter is like wills and trust. I think that's important. Because it's like, at the end of the day, we all think we're gonna live forever, but it's like, shit. Like, to all the homies who have kids right now, wait, what happens if you die? You know? So making sure that everybody is setting up their estates right, getting the proper life insurance. And then also, I think that I really need to take a step back and think about how I can make this vision bigger of teaching, whether it be like an online academy of some sort where I'm really bringing in the industry experts. Because as, you know, a person who has grew up in entrepreneurship, that has defended huge corporations, I'm going to just tell all the listeners out there, there's a lot of people capping right now. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, yet they look good online, so they're following you. So I really want to, you know, clear up the space and bring, because I have so many friends. Like my business partner, and we laugh about it, right? But it's just like, my business partner, like, she's one of the smartest, Rosetta, she's one of the smartest women I know, right? But people like that don't have platforms. So I just want to kind of figure out a way that I can have an academy of some sort that highlights the people who actually know what the hell they're talking about, because I have the platform that will kind of quiet the noise of the people who's just online capping right now. So I'm just kind of
Jibber jabbing.
Man, just chit chatting.
So that annoys. It's kind of hard to even know like what to listen to, what voice to listen to. It's difficult.
Yeah.
So
Like him, people don't know him,
Right.
and it's just like this man has been. You said 13 years,
13 years I've been in business. Yeah.
Right.
and he's really like the first time I met him, I was blown away. I was like, "You have how many units? You have a what? It's called a what? Real estate syndicate? What does that mean, right?" These are people. These are the people who don't have a platform right now. So it's like if we could just like, if I can,
Generate that and show people that. Yeah.
maybe it'd
But-
be my podcast. I don't know, but
Yeah.
some way right now, my mind is just like my juices are flowing. My creative juices are flowing. Like I'm gonna figure this out, how to really highlight the smart people in the next year.
And I'm gonna put my 2 cents on that. The podcast that we did before this one, we were talking about, we're gonna have a more in-depth conversation about reaching down. You know what I mean? And trying to lift up and enlighten the people that need help. They need to be pulled up. But there's like a certain mentality they have to find that mentality. They have to have that paradigm shift on their own, because if they're not ready, it's not gonna click. Okay, so I'm wrapping this up. That's why I set that timer. It's not really gonna click. So that's why we had a discussion about like pricing on my service, you know, and the difference between the people that do the one-time payment and the people that do the minimum
Yeah, we
payment.
was talking about,
And-
it was like, it comes out of your heart wanting to help a lot of people and be like, you know, but then you have all this struggle from usually it's something with them, bro. Like honestly, like the info, why did somebody else take it and run with it and you having trouble? And I hate to talk bad on, you know, like customers that are wanting to pay you, but it's a big, like we were talking about like what's the ratio, or like how do you handle that, you know? Because like you want to help as many people as you can. So like you get tired, you get burnt out, and you're like, man, the bad apples just spoiled it for everybody because I'm about to literally dip, you know, like turn
You
it
know
off
the
myself.
funny part too is like I'm just gonna big myself up real quick, but it's like I'm really the GOAT in this shit. I've been doing this. First of all, I ain't never had no mentor. Like I had one person, I don't know if you guys know Chris Johnson, but like when I first started, like Chris, he just really like broke down like teaching and everything to me. And then like for a long time, it was just basically like he clipped my wings. And you know, like I wasn't going to nobody and looking at what nobody else was doing to like market and stuff. And you know, a lot of people who are big right now, like they're my sons. I'm sorry, like I hate to be like this, but I'm serious. Like
if it's facts,
like, I'm really like
facts.
the sauce behind a lot of people, and I'm like, one day I'm just gonna call it all out and be like, I put this person on, put this person on, put this person on.
So that's what I was even getting to. But my first point was definitely like I hear other people in the same space that do what I do, and they're complaining about their phase one clients that need, you know, the restoration of their credit worthiness, you know. And I was like, you try and encourage that one-time payment, because those are the higher end quality clients that kind of get it.
That is serious.
You know, they'll almost go ghost, and then I gotta tell my assistant, hey, follow up with this person because we're getting him results. Just tap in with them. But those ones that not everybody, some people really need the help. But the only reason I give the option for the minimum payments is I don't want to leave out the people that are serious, but they just like their financial and the way their bank account is set up is sort of like they kind of need the lower price point. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like I'm embarrassed to say it, but my first chargeback, it came from one of those
The ones
lower
that you try to
clients.
help in the first place.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, yo, why is that? Like the people that just boom, one-time payment, it's like they're more so in a better position and they understand the importance. Look, fixing your credit is like It's the only investment you have to make with your own money. Everything else could be other people's money. That's my mentality with it. You know what I'm saying? Because after we get you in a position, we go into the bank and we get you funded. And then you'll just keep moving other people's money around.
My lesson was to charge it to the game.
Yeah, and I would say,
because what if it was like, I remember being broke, right? I remember being broke. So imagine if you could just be like, I'm going to dispute this so I could go buy what I want to eat today. Like, I think it really, like, we're, like, kind of so far removed from, like, regular life now that it's, like, I think we take personal when they do the chargebacks, but it's like, damn, what if they just really needed the money back?
Yeah. I talked to the person that did the chargeback, and I was like, this and that. I was like, yo, I would have refunded you. I promised that I would. You know what I mean? Because those are the type of clients that they'll hit you up consistently with, you know, instead of being patient for results. But I was just like, man, I have a different method for doing the on-time payments where, you know, now I can report to the bureaus on, you know what I mean? I can report their on-time payments for my service the same way a credit card would.
Your bills their credit while they.
Please
you know what I'm
teach
saying?
me that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can finance customers now so that my company's less at risk, and you know.
That's
And
fine.
it can be like it's a whole merchant process that I have set up, but ultimately that's a trade line. It's anybody can get approved with any credit score, and it's not no hard inquiry. Boom.
That's dope.
So long story short, I'm figuring out solutions for that. But what I would say, my personal opinion, is definitely raising the prices only to weed out the people that are just browsing, that are just like, you know, because it can't be a Black Friday sale 365. It's like, especially for what you're doing. Like that trademarking workshop that you had, that was definitely impulse purchase. I was like, this was not on my. I was definitely 100%. I had other stuff to do. I just happened to be on Instagram at the right time, and you was talking like, hey, we got this going on. Look at, you know what I mean? You was live with somebody else with the trade line.
With Rosetta.
Yeah. And she, you know what I'm saying, checked out her page. Oh, this is official. Oh man, it's just, the timing was right. Boom, impulse purchase. But I was saying, like, I feel like that price needs to go slightly up to really get certain quality people in there, because, you know what I mean? There's an art to reaching down, and it's like, you gotta like pay to respect it. There's certain price points that people respect, and then there's certain price points where it's like people can buy something and it'll sit on their hard drives and collect
I got
dust.
something to say in response to that.
Yeah,
though.
Okay, all right.
So when people talk about raising their prices, right? I'll ask you a question. Which company is a bigger company, Toyota or Lamborghini?
That's where I'm at.
That's Toyota or Lamborghini?
Yeah, who
Bigger, like
a bigger company, like as far as market capitalization,
there's volume
profits,
and then
revenue.
there's quality.
No, I'm trying to go there.
From a business
Because
perspective.
from a business perspective, volume is very important, and you can only have tremendous volume at lower prices, which is why Toyota may make 900,000 cars a year, Lamborghini may make 40,000. So yeah, Lamborghini is perceived to be a better quality, more expensive car, but there's more Toyotas on the road. Toyota is a bigger company. They're a bigger company.
I'm not trying to be
So
Rolls Royce.
I'd rather be the CEO or the CEO. A CEO could be hired. I'd rather be the owner of Toyota than the owner of Lamborghini or Rolls Royce.
That's the
I'd rather be the owner of
From
Honda.
a financial aspect, that's why I kept my monthly payment option. Is just like, I do want to service those people at that level.
Yeah.
You know, but I do know like certain price points. This is like, I would rather, like I gotta do my ebook, right?
Yeah.
So there's those little small products. Hey, you don't qualify for this program right now. Here's our introductory product right here, service or whatever. But it's like a personal opinion.
And
like,
a misconception, Toyotas are high quality too.
oh, it's the best quality.
Yeah,
I heard
like-
they last the longest.
Like they're high
It's
quality
just
too.
like, yeah, you're paying for perception.
Yeah, so
and
it's just
prestige and
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a whole bunch of other
Yeah.
layers too, and then a lot of people don't know, like Rolls Royce and BMW,
Same chassis.
same company. So
Yeah.
like it's the same car. So
Yeah,
what you're
it's the
paying
same
the
car.
300,000
Like,
for.
like you can get a Q8.
It's Audi,
the
and
same
Lamborghini. It's the
chassis or
same
something
thing.
like that,
Same
like-
thing with Toyota and Lexus,
Same car.
Yeah.
Nissan and Infiniti.
Right.
So
I
a
think
lot of
this
this
does
perceived-
push you in a club though. It's a club.
If you
like
need,
Ferrari,
if you need to be in that club for it could be for
Status or
social status,
whatever,
it could be for
like-
business.
Right.
Then that depends on the consumer. But I think
But
having
you're not buying if it's a 10 if it's 10 times as much, you're not buying 10 times as much quality.
Correct.
Like literally looking.
because
at it,
it's
right?
just depend. You know, I believe in having multiple price points and multiple buckets for a customer. Yes,
To serve
there's going to be
all.
a customer that chargebacks and gets a refund at the low end. There's going to be people that do that for the $5,000 stuff too. In business, I mean, how many chargebacks?
And that's a huger,
does
like-
Chase get every day, or Walgreens, or
Yeah.
how many they're probably dealing with thousands of chargebacks every week.
And that was like, that's like, we could go on off camera. We could have that conversation
Yeah.
fully, but it's like, but it's like, business wise, from a business perspective, I ain't no coach. I always say that my mind is fully business,
I feel you.
all profit. So a low ticket from a business perspective is like
Win.
having a McDonald's.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I was about to say that word earlier, but it's like, yeah, you could be the McDonald's of what you do, and I can respect it. You
And
know
I
what
love
I'm saying?
McDonald's.
I love
You better know
McDonald's.
what comes
I
with
love
it.
too.
It's not you're
Right,
not gonna be
McDonald's
served. You're not gonna be walk. You know, like there's like I say, as long as that's communicated, then you tell the customer, then all right, you get what you pay for. In this case, it's still mad value, but don't be.
Don't
in my
think
ear
you're gonna
like a
talk to me.
consultant. Yeah.
But then there's also perceived, what's the word?
Perceived value,
Perceived value. It's another thing. It's like perceived expectations. Like,
Yeah.
I know that if I'm gonna go, like, if I know I'm gonna spend X amount of dollars on this Sony camera, right? I'm gonna be expecting whatever because I know it's $2,700 or $1,500,
So there's-
as opposed to if I'm buying like a throwaway because I just want something quick. So like, we have to give the consumers a bit more
makes
credit
sense.
to know that like there's, sometimes they know it's like, okay, if I'm buying $40 for this, am I really gonna expect I'm gonna be able to call Sierra whenever I want?
Because you'll never.
Do you really think? It's like, you kind of already know. Now, if you're spending $500, you may think, okay, I may be able to get some follow-up emails. Maybe I get to talk to her, twice. You know what I'm saying? To at least get some clarity. So it's one of those things that if it's communicated well, but I think having a range, if we're gonna grow, we have to understand that we just trying to serve one particular demographic. Long term, I don't think that's the
It's not
best,
max
the
output.
best,
that you can do. Yeah, that's
the
good.
best strategy to be around for a long time, And so I think the companies that have been around for 20, 30, 40 years, they've changed their strategy every 3 years, 4 years. They've rebranded if they needed to. They've been able to move with the demographic, moving with where people are putting their money. And they're able to pivot. It's not
Yeah.
just, it's
Yeah.
$1,000 forever. No, if the pandemic happens and 20 million people lose their jobs, maybe I'm gonna make it $250 and run it up there and then adjust accordingly if things change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so-
And then too, like, if you think about it, like, do we perceive a pastor to be less valuable because he preaches us for free? We come as we are and we give him what we can.
That's true.
Exactly.
So because
Wow.
I say this like sparingly because at the end of the day, I'm the attorney in the game. So if a lawyer gives you something for $50, you see the value regardless, Now, different people, they have to play with their value. They got a person who just got on the internet yesterday and just yapping, they might have to price their product at $5,000 to convince people that there's value there, because the value really might not be there. But it's kind of like my followers love me because they know like she has our back, but they also know too like she's not gonna answer my DM. She's not gonna answer my email. If I have a question for her, it's $1,000 for the call because now I'm talking about her time. And if you want my time, I'm charging for it, period.
Okay.
But it's like,
take
I
that.
tell them that all the time, like, if you want to get on the phone with me, I'm not discounting the price of the call because I actually have to talk to you now. This course is already recorded. I did this a year and a half ago. So,
Or you went on live and they caught you. That's your time that you decided to give to be on live to answer whatever, right? But as soon as,
and I don't even answer the questions on live. I talk to them about what I want to talk to them about. I read their comments if I want to read them, and I tell them this. They'll be like, "Oh, you responded to this person's comment. You didn't pay me to respond to your comments, so you can't expect me to do anything besides what I want to do." But it's the coaching industry is just like I try to get away from it, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Can't leave the game alone. The game needs me.
It's a revenue
Married to
generator.
the game.
It's a revenue generator, but I kind of want to go in this next phase of my life. I want to go into like the actual like full-blown practitioner of what I do and go back from like teaching it. Man. It's like I want to like I love the thing that gives me anxiety is not having anything to do. That's why like 3 days into a vacation I can't do it. It's like I'm ready to leave.
Right.
I like to just be moving around. I get anxiety if I'm just sitting still, sitting at the house or whatever.
He's such a man. That's
So
like
just-
such because I'm like the opposite. I'm like
I can't do that. I feel like, oh my God, bro, like what are you doing, bro? So the practitioner space is like, you know, there's plumbers, you know, people shit on plumbers. There's plumbers that make $80, $90, $100,000 a year. They're practitioners every day. They're in toilets or they're in sinks or whether it's restaurants or whatever, and they love that. That's why they do it, you know. And so like being a practitioner, I really want to just sink myself all in that, you know, and that's what I feel I get the most joy out of. But yeah, you can get a bag off of, you know, the affiliate marketing guides that I have and all this stuff you can pick up, you know, 10,000 here. It's cool. But I much more enjoy like being on the ground. You know, I much more enjoy it. You know,
That's
for
what I
now
like
at this
to
phase, it may change 10 years from now, but for right now, like that's what I like. You know, and I want to do what I like, man.
That's where I was at in 2022. I literally was just like, I'm about to go full-fledged. Y'all about to see billboards of me everywhere. Y'all about to see me on buses. Y'all about to see me every Facebook ad. Like, if I got to really put together a call center for Sierra ESQ's team of, you know, cases, then that's what I'm going to do. So I got to, like, really automate the courses and, like, full-fledged, you know, go law. And then, you know, we can talk about it off camera about what my actual plans to do are for business, but it's just like I like to keep my stuff to myself, you know.
Which is an excellent idea.
Because I can't be having this many people knowing what I'm working on. Because I don't know how many of them are secret haters, and energy is everything. So I can't have their energy interjecting.
Yeah, I swear to God, I have the same mentality. It's like you don't know who's out there. You got to protect your energy. Like there's some people that just announce every move. Honestly, I call some coming soon ass niggas, like everything coming soon, like an album that never's dropping. Like, nah, protect your energy. And I'm more so like showing results of what I've already done. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm working on something, I'll try and tease it a little bit, maybe in the story or something like, but like you don't know who's like praying with the voodoo dolls, like on your downfall. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's more appropriate to kind of like just show like results rather than, oh, I'm about to do this. Oh, 2022 is my year. Like, yo, chill. You know what I'm saying? It's announcement after announcement after announcement, and then what happens if you don't do it? It's just like then you look
quiet and act like nothing happened,
and then you gonna act like
nothing. Just
bro, chill.
Fade to black.
Yeah, you know. So I agree with that. Like I always try and get people, if I'm asking questions like that, like whatever you're comfortable letting the people know, like what are you up to? You know what I mean? Like. And so that they can tune in with you and tap with you in regards to those kind of services or whatever. But yeah, man, this is an amazing conversation. And I definitely want to, you know, we gonna chop it up and network too. And then,
I hope it's over some food because I'm hungry.
So yeah,
let's go grab some.
On the screen one more time for everybody heading out. That's her website right there. That's her number. Contact her. If you need a corporate lawyer.
If you need a lawyer.
If you need a lawyer, you know what I'm saying?
I don't care what it is, call me.
Right. And you're gonna find her digital products, or she gonna figure that out for y'all.
Yes.
And then also before we go, I just want to let everybody know if you are in the Miami area, we are in our showroom. If you want to rent an exotic, Lamborghinis, Benzes, BMWs, pick up and drop off. We just need valid driver's license, insurance, deposit. We have our team back here, Ron and Ashley, husband and wife team that help us with a lot of the logistics. You can go to mecrentals.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at Miami Exotic Car Rentals 305. And so,
perfect.
Tosin said, "Don't follow me, follow my business."
Yeah, follow the business page, baby.
Where are you from? Who are you?
Never
met him before.
I'm from everywhere. I'm from St. Louis, Chicago, New Jersey. I spent so much of my life in so many places. It's like I can just adapt to that phase and stage of my life. And
I'm like, what?
It's like,
One day, y'all, Tosin, he had picked up me and my videographer, and he was dropping us off somewhere, and somebody pissed him off. And I was like, who is that?
Different Tulsa.
I ain't never seen that man a day in my life, but now I feel comfortable hanging out with him because I know I'm protected.
And then, so yeah, we got one more time for the screen. We got Tosin's page, but you can also follow.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you can also follow his.
Check out the last podcast that we did.
Exactly,
That was
exactly.
fire.
And then we got, Mr. Credit Jim.
That's me. That's me.
Dope.
You know what I mean?
We got to get your Instagram up, sir.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
He be low key.
See, I be low key, but if you peep my stories,
Yeah,
man,
it's
I should
fire.
be charging
Fire.
for that.
That's how I knew he was my twin. I was like, yo, this guy's just as
I live
obsessed as me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
So,
excited. Trying to get.
We gonna wrap
I'm
it
trying
up
to
there.
get some stuff on OPM.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 o'clock on the dot. Yo, we gonna wrap it
Let's
up
get some
there.
food.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. If y'all made it this far in the video,
Thanks,
you know
guys.
how to contact us. Deleteking850.com. Tap in. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, and leave a comment and hit the notification bell. All that good stuff. Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Thank
Have
you.
a blessed day.
Another
week,
one.
life,
Hey.
everything.
Now we can smoke our vapes.
It's a wrap. Damn, that was perfect.
That's crazy. Everybody called me while we was doing that, man.